Um, it's also interesting that you want to be very careful of intuitive standardized controls that everyone has. A great example of this is this thing, right? Try to play Arkham Knight, um, Gotham Knights rather, and enjoying it. And I've been playing it solely with the controller, which sometimes is really annoying, sometimes it's great. But they'll say things like, okay, to do this, you've got a split second to decide what you're going to do in this moment. If you want to do a silent takedown, press Y. And if you want to do a ambush that's really loud but will cause fear amongst them, press X. I'm like, is that the yellow or the blue? WSAD is another great one. I mean, leaving aside that there are people in the world who have AZERTY keyboards, so you actually mean ZASD, unless you're American, which is aluminium ASD, because they don't say Z, they say aluminium. I remember when all games used the cursor keys and control.
Doom was like that. The original Doom.
Auto 1, the original Doom was like that. Was cursor keys and control. No one used WSAD. Not until I'd say Doom. Actually, Doom was right on the edge. Doom was when people started using a mouse for shooters.
If I remember.
Yes, but Doom was the first game that had a mouse, and people were like, "Okay, you need to use your left hand for movement. You can't put on the cursor key if you're right-handed." So
I remember being like that at the computer because the cursor keys and the mouse are quite close to one another.
Daley Thompson's Decathlon. Well done. That's exactly the one I was thinking of. On the ZX Spectrum. Oh my gods, that was... there was something about two 14-year-old, two 10-year-old boys sitting next to each other, waggling their joysticks as hard as they can. That makes your parents just stand at the doorway and laugh. I mean, just the sentence.
That's a clip.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. There were strategy games that required it. Flight simulators, obviously, which you would actually have to print out or that give you an overlay for your keyboard to tell you what all the keys did, but you also had the joystick. I remember when I played Elite Dangerous for a while, I actually ended up getting a Logitech X95 Pro, which is a
HOTAS. Is that where you've got the
one
throttle, but the throttle's also got like 27 buttons
and stick. Yeah. I think it's something like 24 buttons in total in different combinations.
That's a lot.
So you don't have to use the keyboard at all, except in extreme circumstances. But yeah, it's okay. So there's a few things going on here. The first is sometimes everyone just falls into the pattern of this is how a game has to work. You have to use these controls. WCD is a great example, right?
Yeah.
WCD and mouse. Yes, most games use that, but they don't have to. There may be a reason not to for your game. Especially now when you've got access to things like, I mean, depending on what hardware you're using, touch screens, plastic guitars, the styluses. There's all kinds of different control systems available. There's also, I've lost the thread of what I was saying. Oh yeah, there's also
that's usually my job.
Assuming that the player knows what this does, that they know the right trigger is drive, right? That right analog stick is look, that WSAD is move. If you haven't played video games in 20 years, or are just new to them in general, or just don't use this control system much, that's actually quite confusing.
I believe I've said this on stream before, but I really wanted to play through The Last of Us, and I thought, I'll play it through with my wife as well, and she'll do all the movement stuff, and when it gets to the more difficult stuff, pass it over, do that. And there's a bit just at the very beginning where you come to a queue, you get out. I think you crash actually. You end up getting out your car, and you've got to basically follow these invisible clues that if you're used to gaming, you're going to know what they are. Oh look, there's a light there. There's a wall of fire there that's directing you that way. And we got to this little bit where you have to walk into a bar, and it's a quick time event in the sake of you've got like 5 seconds to do it. If you take 6, you're dead. And after like 6 attempts, Kareen was just like, nope. And it was all due to the fact that, and this is right at the beginning of the game on easy, but that you die if you don't do it in that time. You die. There's no health or anything along those lines. It's just over. And I can understand how that can be incredibly frustrating. And obviously, that's a bad memory to have of a game.
I mean, this kind of leads on to how to guide players through levels that feel open, which is a kind of different talk.
Yeah,
But it does remind me of on Sunday, Mikey and I played the last of the official campaigns for Left 4 Dead 2. We've been going through them every week, just playing different,
yeah, it's been
you
fun.
know, it's been fun. But there was a great moment where Mikey's character was just like, I don't know which way to go. And both of us just like, follow the lights, mate. It's what we've done every other time. Just follow the lights, go the only way you can, go through that big open door on the hill.
Duh, it's the only path you can't jump over.
Oh, okay. Speaking of non-intuitive design decisions, things that feel obvious at the time, but can actually have profound implications. I played a decent chunk of Gotham Knights, and I'd gotten my character customized. I
Mhm.
was really enjoying it. I was getting access to some really fun things, and the plot was finally kicking in the way that it was really. However, and this is partly because of Proton, and partly because the game is net stable.
I've just remembered what it is.
The game doesn't always launch, right? So sometimes it takes me 3, 4, sometimes 5 attempts to launch the game. And what tends to happen is you press play, you wait a bit, black screen, epilepsy warning, press OK, continue. It's crashed the desktop. So I'm just
You're going through the motions. I want to
going
play
through
my
the
game.
motions. And at the time that it actually came through, I accidentally pressed new game. And here's a fun fact with this game. Once you've pressed new game, there is no back.
It doesn't ask you,
The
are you sure?
moment you've pressed it, it wipes your save game and all customization and progress, all achievements, everything, just gone. And it says, what's your difficulty level? I'm like, go back. No, your difficulty level. No, go back. No, difficulty level. Go back.
Please.
Difficulty level. I missed my Nightwing. You're not Nightwing yet. What's your difficulty level? So I've had to start again. So do me a favor. If you're going to have a system like that, have a back button and some sort of warning. Hey, did you mean to wipe out your save?
It
Like you're allowed, but is that a thing you want to do?
It's interesting, Blender actually has a similar system. If you're actually exporting an FBX, a GLTF, whatever it is, it won't say, "Oh, that file already exists." And if you're exporting lots of
Yeah.
things and you're changing the name and you forget to change it, you end up overwriting. You're like, oh no! But yeah, it is bad user experience to not have an "Are you sure" button.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. It's just like, but I just pressed it quickly because no. Yeah,
Vertex
no,
Rage was saying
there's
Elite
moments like
Dangerous
that.
is really good with the Xbox controller, and that's a really good thing because it's also very good in VR. And trying to use your keyboard
Mm.
at the same time as being in a VR headset is quite difficult. However, having both your hands on a controller makes it so much more accessible.
I mean, that's one of the nice things about a HOTAS setup is you just memorize which button does what, and you don't have to see your hands. Um, I wasn't using VR. I've never used VR on a PC. I haven't used VR since the 90s because I have cats, and wearing something over my face and then waving my hands around blindly. I mean, you've seen Caboodle jump on me twice. That's going to end badly.
Although it would make a good video for you being framed.
Is it still going?
I don't know.
Yeah.